Okay, let's talk about masturbation. When masturbation's lost its fun, you're effing healthy or not. Let's decide. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about masturbation. Is it harmless or harmful? So, on the internet, or the outer web, as my kids call it, you can find professionals telling you that not only is masturbation fine, that it's healthy for you, that it's something that you need. Well, today, let's break it down. Is it harmful? Is it harmless? Is it helpful? Is it healthy? Well, let's check it out. We are specifically going to talk about how masturbation relates to pornography. We're going to talk about how it relates to sex toys. This was a question by someone who has asked the question multiple times in the comments. So please leave comments. I read every single one, and I'm trying to show up here in a way that you want me to do so to help you on this journey. Another viewer asked for me to talk about arousal templates and fetishes. So we're going to break down those things in this podcast. But before we do, welcome back. I'm Dr. Trish Leigh. I'm your hostess with the mostest, and this is part of my outreach program to, first of all, help people who are struggling with screen addictions and who want to get on track and on purpose in their life to elevate their mind over life's challenges. So thank you for coming back. And if you're interested in helping me in the journey on this mission, please go over to pornbrainprevention.org. It is a nonprofit organization that I've founded to help children and young people never get into a situation where they're addicted to explicit matter. Donate. I always match the donations. All right, cool. Now, let us dive in. Today, we're going to talk about masturbation. And if you have a masturbation habit or a compulsive masturbation habit, that means you go back frequently, consistently, and basically you need it to not feel bad. You might think you need it to feel good. You actually need it to not feel bad. And if you don't know what I mean by that, just try to stop. You will find out quickly that your anger, irritability, anxiety, depression, general malaise will all go through the roof. So if you have a compulsive masturbation habit, this video is for you. And it's not about shame. It's about awareness. It's about knowledge, inspiration, empowerment. That is what I'm on a mission to do. I want everybody to find their authentic life, have the courage to chase it down and to live it. Because then guess what happens? You feel great, you're on purpose, and you don't need to go to masturbation for high levels of dopamine that you will find out about in a minute to escape from your life. So many people are escaping and they don't even know why. I'm going to tell you. So first, let's talk about what happens in the brain. What is the brain science showing behind masturbation? When you mix masturbation with internet pornography, this is very different than a person who may have developed let's call it a casual masturbation habit for the lack of better verbiage here. Someone who never found porn and maybe they go to masturbation here and there. That is very different. That's a casual masturbation habit versus a compulsive one. What we know from the science is that if you found pornography, usually when you were younger in adolescence or now childhood, and you coupled that with masturbation, that became a linked supernormal stimulus for your brain. What that means is your brain receives very high levels of dopamine from masturbation. Now, the sleuthy or the tricky part of pornography is that once you've viewed it enough, especially with frequency, consistency, any level of intensity, you can internalize it. It becomes about fantasy. It becomes about euphoric recall of the past, things you've seen before, or perhaps fantasy of things you want to see or experience in the future. None of that is about the present. So porn, when linked with masturbation, internalizes that fantasy about past, future, escapism somewhere else. That's what fantasy is. And it takes you away from your life. We know from the brain side, what's happening is the dopamine reward center in your midbrain, it has dopamine receptors. Those are being flooded in dopamine. Where if you had a sexual experience with your partner, which has dopamine at lower levels, those dopamine receptors would be lit up a little. But when you go to porn and masturbation over and over compulsively, you're basically lighting those receptors up on steroids. You're flaming them up often. You're desensitizing them. And what happens from there is the reward center becomes desensitized, and the reward pathways that feed forward to the frontal lobe, they become desensitized. There's scientific studies that show that the frontal lobe basically becomes knocked out in functioning. It's no longer performing at the levels that it would without pornography and chronic masturbation. So, casual masturbation and chronic masturbation, two different things. And masturbation linked to pornography, very different than a person who masturbates and stays with the sensation in their body in the present. So, casual masturbation is a present type of activity, and masturbation compulsively, especially with pornography, is a past and future or another realm type of activity, not a present activity. These are two different things. So when we have that compulsive nature and you continue to go back frequently, this is neuroplasticity. And I know some people think, I'm hyperbolic. That's a word. When I say that neuroplasticity can be your best friend or your worst enemy. When you keep going back to porn and masturbation, that act is making neuroplasticity and the neural rewiring a saboteur in your brain. It's actually linking your brain to go back and to need to go back to not feel bad. That's the compulsive nature. So, number one, they're very different. Casual masturbation, chronic compulsive masturbation. My first challenge to you is figure out which category you fall into. Masturbation one time a month, even at that, I would say would be a casual habit. More frequently than that, and especially if you have a plan around it, especially if you consider yourself having sessions, especially if you masturbate in the shower very frequently. If you have a habit around this, you fall into compulsive. Now, what we know from the brain science is that a compulsive masturbation habit can lead to erectile dysfunction from this desensitization of the dopamine center in the brain. We also know that this is what can change your arousal templates. So I had the question on fetishes. Now, if you're chronically compulsively masturbating to one type of scene that you find to be the highest level of pleasure, it doesn't even matter what the scene is. This is what makes a fetish. You are linking your brain, neural pathways fired over and over and over and over with that one stimulus. So that becomes your highest level arousal template. It becomes the fetish. No matter what it is. I don't even have to tell you what it is because I don't want the hijacker in your brain getting any ideas. But it can range from anything. That's why there's so many different genres. The industry's counting on your brain getting linked to it. This is how your arousal template changes. So now that becomes the highest level arousal scenario or act for you. Then when you go back to have a sexual experience with your partner, it's boring, to quote someone. I was on his podcast. It hasn't come out yet, but I recorded it the other day. And he's like, this is why it's boring when you go back to have sex in the real world. I'm like, you just called sex with your wife boring, right? And, he clarified, no, I didn't mean that. But I love that he said that because that is how it registers in the nervous system. Now your gorgeous, knockout, smoking hot wife, like he said, feels boring to your brain because it's not that distorted arousal template that you've linked your brain to 10, 15, 20, 100, 10,000 times. 100,000 times for some people. So think about it. That arousal template gets changed because you're linking your brain to it over and over and over. And then now you go back into your real life intimacy and it's meh, right? Your partner's meh. It can't compare. Level 20 in the screen, linked to masturbation, partner sex of being with another person, it's like a 6. That's what happens. That's how ED happens. That's how the arousal template gets changed. Your brain and your body get bonded to that scene. Now let's talk about sex toys. Another person asked me questions about sex toys. It's the same. If you're bonding your brain and your body through the neurochemistry in your brain, namely dopamine, now what's happening? Now you are creating a self-sex scenario with toys. Those toys are more exciting than just masturbation. All of this is tolerance building and escalation for more dopamine. They are not healthy for you. And of course, it depends what your goal is. My goal for you, healthy real world pleasure from your work, enjoying your work like I'm enjoying it. This is my work. This is my mission. This is why I get up in the day. I'm psyched to do it all the time. I'm psyched to serve the clients that we work with. If I had $100 million, I would still be here. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be here for the next month. I'd be on a beach. After that, I'd be back tan and relaxed. But I would be here. This is my mission. There's no amount of money that can stop me. So that's the empowering, vocation, not just work, the vocation that a person is here for, purpose. And in the hobbies, the things you love to do. It's gorgeous out today. I'm going to get out there, do my kickboxing and boxing. It's a beautiful day. Maybe I'll hit the lake on my paddleboard because we're moving into summer. So that's amazing. But then also, I want you to have real life intimacy with your partner. I want the number one sexually satisfying thing for you to do is to be with someone who wants to be with you, not a sex toy, not a fake artificial scene that is put on by performers. That's not what I want for you. So think about it. Okay, so now what can you do? If the problem is you are linking your brain to the screen, to the easy button, to sex toys, you're changing your arousal template through the saboteur of poorly pushed neuroplasticity in the wrong direction, what's there to do about it? The solution is in the problem. You have to stay away from porn. I know, easier said than done because it's highly addictive and your brain is trained like a puppy to go back to those scenes. It might be trained like a puppy to go back to those fetishes or to those toys. So you have to untrain that puppy. And my dog Chewy, he's actually been begging for food more. Every time he comes near Saoirse, my youngest daughter, she goes, "Scram." And she said it the other day. She's like, I've actually taught him to go away just at the word scram. And he's 13. You can teach an old dog new tricks. You can teach your brain new tricks too, no matter how long you've been pushing it in that direction. That's the beauty of neuroplasticity. It can become your best friend. But here's what you have to do: hard stop on the artificial dopamine from the arousal templates you've been feeding it, from the sex toys, from the porn, from the compulsive masturbation. Now you need a dopamine detox from those things and a dopamine stack from your real life. Figure out the parts of your work you like to do the most, do them. Figure out the hobbies that you love to do them. This is my husband's birthday weekend. He's golfing 4 times. How fun's that, right? He loves to golf. If I had to golf 4 times in a weekend, that would not serve me. Do what serves you. Figure it out. Do it. Build it into your week. Schedule it in. If it's not scheduled, it's not real. Then it's imperative to get a good morning routine going. Wake up, don't touch your phone, teach your brain to be present. Remember, this is about being present and enjoying it. Even the challenges you can enjoy. Even a difficult conversation with your partner about your sex life and spicing it up so it has more dopamine if that's necessary. You can stay present in that and be very proud of yourself and glad that you have the courage in the face of fear to communicate and to use higher level emotional intelligence and interactional style. That's what this is about. Then you organize your day so that it's brain boosting. Your brain's on and it has enough break time so you're not tipping yourself into strained brain. Strained brain's wired and tired, stressed and exhausted. It basically necessitates porn and masturbation at the end of the day in the way that you've trained it. We need to train this old dog that at the end of the day, you take a beautiful walk. You take Chewy for a walk like I do. You listen to the birds. You feel the wind in your hair. You see a neighbor, you chat. On my walk the other day, I saw one neighbor struggling with a ladder. Another neighbor came across and helped him, and they were chatting. And I thought to myself, if those two were plugged in, that never would have happened. And if I was plugged in, I never would have noticed it. I gave them a hey, we gave each other a wave and a laugh. Beautiful. Real life, real world experiences. Go for that. In the evening, cuddle with your honey. Build real world intimacy. Get some foreplay going. Build some excitement towards being together. Real world sexual satisfaction. Then be with your partner and enjoy it. Don't go to fantasy in your mind. Remember, euphoric recall pulls you out of the present. It takes you into the past, into the future. Stay present. You're going to have to stay away from masturbation for a while, but maybe you could include it in your sexual experience with your partner if they're up for it. Remember that discussion you're going to have? So let's double down on dopamine detoxing from the screen, dopamine stacking from your real life. Okay, now if you're looking for help on this journey, please go over to drtrishleigh.com. This is what me and my team help people with all day, every day. When people have a compulsive masturbation habit, it gives them a lot of shame. It gives them fear when you realize you can't stop and it's impacting your sex life. When you have ED and you don't know who to turn to, or maybe you've turned to a professional and they told you it's in your head or it's fine for you, it's healthy for you. It's not healthy. So, to be very, very clear, compulsive masturbation is harmful to you and the goals that you are setting for your life. It is harmful. It's not harmless. There's big impact here, flying below the radar. If you need help, please go to drtrishleigh.com, schedule a consultation, or get your brain map scheduled. In your brain map, we'll be able to show you where the brain dysfunction is from the compulsive masturbation. We'll be able to show you what your brain needs to reverse that and use neuroplasticity as your best friend. I would love to help. Okay, so until next time, control your brain or it will control you. I'll see you then.